Welcome back to a tactical deep dive here at Tech Talk Central. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Sarah.
Today we are settling a budget smart PV battle royale.
Yeah.
We're looking at two really interesting models from VIZIO.
We are. We've got the 40-inch VFD40M-08 and the slightly larger 43-inch VQD43M-0801.
And on paper, they look pretty similar, right?
They do, and that's the trap. Our mission here is to really quickly unpack the technical differences. We want to help you figure out which one is the smarter buy for what you actually need without getting lost in all the jargon.
Okay, let's unpack this. So we're dealing with models for, a bedroom, maybe a small apartment or a dorm room.
Exactly.
But looking at the spec sheets, that tiny 3-inch size difference, it hides this massive leap in technology.
It really does. It's the difference between let's say, a high-quality essential tool and a budget version of a real performance machine. And that split, it always starts with the display.
Let's start with the real entry-level model then, the 40-inch VFD40M-08. This one is, well, it's firmly 1080p Full HD.
And in a world that's all about 4K, some people might just write that off immediately.
And that would be a mistake.
It really would, especially in this budget context. Yes, 1080p is a quarter of the pixels of 4K, but VIZIO has put its money into maximizing the quality of those pixels. And the key feature here is the full-array LED backlight system.
That is huge because so many competitors in this price range, they use edge-lit displays.
Right, where the LEDs are just around the edges.
And you get that uneven brightness, that flashlighting effect. It just doesn't look good.
Precisely. By spreading the LEDs across the whole back of the panel, VIZIO gives this TV much more consistent contrast. For, just watching sports during the day, that clarity is often more noticeable than just raw resolution.
And they pair that with something called active pixel tuning. Now, this sounds a little bit like marketing fluff.
It does a little bit, yeah.
But from what we can tell, it's a system that fine-tunes the color at a pixel level. It's VIZIO's way of squeezing every last drop of performance out of that 1080p panel.
And you get basic HDR support too, HDR10, but only over an HDMI connection.
Still, for a baseline budget TV, that's a really solid package. It's all about 1080p clarity and good contrast.
But then you take that small step up to the 43-inch VQD43M-0801.
And you just leave the baseline completely behind. It's like VIZIO threw every modern display tech it could afford into this small screen.
The first jump is obvious, 4K resolution. 4 times the pixels. But what's interesting here is that sharpness isn't the only benefit at this screen size.
What do you mean?
Well, if you're sitting, say, more than 6 feet away from a 43-inch screen, your eye might actually struggle to tell the difference between really good 1080p and 4K.
So if it's not just about sharpness,
Right.
What is the big deal?
It's the color. It's all about the color thanks to the QLED designation, quantum color.
Okay, so this is where the quantum dots come in.
Exactly. These tiny little crystals, when the backlight hits them, they emit these incredibly pure, saturated colors. It lets this TV show over 1 billion hues.
So the VQD43M-0801 isn't just sharper, it's radically more colorful. Yeah. It's showing you a spectrum the other TV literally cannot produce.
And you need that extra color capability because this model supports a much better HDR format. It supports Dolby Vision.
Which is a huge step up from the static HDR10 on the other model.
A massive step. Dolby Vision adjusts the picture scene by scene or even frame by frame. It's always optimizing the brightness and color for whatever you're watching.
So if you're the kind of person, the entertainment enthusiast who, subscribes to streaming services that push 4K Dolby Vision content,
then the 43-inch is really your only choice here. You need its color and processing to see that content properly. The 40-inch is about clarity. The 43-inch is about pure color immersion. All
right, let's switch gears to performance and connectivity because a great picture doesn't mean much if your stream is always buffering.
Right, and starting with what they share, both have a standard 60 Hz refresh rate. That's pretty typical.
And they both have that nice, modern, 3-sided thin frame design. They look good.
They do. But the networking hardware, that's where you see the money was spent on the 43-inch model. The 40-inch uses standard Wi-Fi. It's fine for 1080p.
Serviceable.
Totally serviceable. But the VQD43M-0801, it jumps up to Wi-Fi 6.
And for a 4K TV, that's actually a really big deal.
It is. If your home network is crowded, with phones, cameras, consoles, Wi-Fi 6 is specifically designed to handle that congestion better.
Which means your 4K stream is less likely to lag or buffer.
Exactly. It just gives you a much more stable connection, especially if the TV is far from your router. It's good future-proofing.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, especially for anyone who wants to do some casual gaming.
The difference is it's stark.
So the 40-inch model, the VFD40M-08, when it detects a console, It kicks on auto low latency mode, or ALLM.
Which is essential. It tells the TV to switch to its fastest mode to reduce that delay between pressing a button and seeing the action on screen.
So it's a necessary feature for modern gaming.
Absolutely. It's the baseline. But the 43-inch, the VQD43M-0801, it just changes the game entirely for a budget TV.
Okay, how so?
It has an integrated gaming menu, which is cool, but the headline feature is that it can actually push up to 120 frames per second.
Whoa. Okay, 120 FPS on a budget TV that's unheard of. But there's a catch, right?
There's a big catch. To hit that 120 features, you have to feed it a 1080p signal.
So you buy a 4K screen, but to get that super smooth motion for gaming, you have to knock the resolution down.
Exactly. You have to understand that trade-off. You're choosing buttery smoothness over pure visual sharpness. For a PC gamer with a powerful card who values speed, it's an amazing option to have at this price.
And the 40-inch just can't do it at all. It's a clear sign of the more powerful processor and panel inside the 43-inch model.
It really is. It shows that TV is built to be a high-res media hub and a high-speed gaming display, just not at the same time at 4K.
Okay, let's wrap this up by looking at the smart features, the ecosystem.
Right, so both run on the same software, the Vizio OS. And one thing you should know is that you do have to create a Vizio account to get the full smart TV functions and all the updates.
That's pretty standard these days, the cost of entry. But Vizio does give you a pretty big value add with their Watch Free Plus app.
That's a huge bonus. It's basically a free built-in streaming service with hundreds of live channels and a ton of on-demand stuff, all ad-supported. For a budget buyer, that's a lot of free entertainment.
And they both play nice with the rest of your smart home. You can control them with Google Assistant and Alexa devices.
And they both have Bluetooth headphone support. That is such a great quality of life feature, especially for a TV in a bedroom or a shared space.
But once again, the 43-inch VQD43M-0801 it pulls ahead. The 40-inch has Google Cast built in, standard stuff for Android users.
But the 43-inch has Google Cast and it adds Apple AirPlay.
And that's critical if you're in the Apple ecosystem.
Yeah.
You can just mirror your iPhone or your Mac screen without needing an Apple TV box.
It just makes it compatible with so many more devices. And it also has a voice remote, meaning the mic is built right into the remote itself.
So you don't need a separate smart speaker to use voice commands. It's just more integrated.
Exactly. So if we sum it all up, the VFD40M-08 is a fantastic budget screen. It gives you great contrast for 1080p and all the essential smarts. It's just a solid utility TV.
But the 43-inch VQ4040M-0801, that's the full performance upgrade. You get 4K, QLED color, Wi-Fi 6, Dolby Vision, and that special 120 fps gaming mode. It's for the person who wants modern features but doesn't want to pay for a huge flagship screen.
Which brings up a really important question for you, the person shopping. The choice isn't just about screen size or price. It's about how that TV's hardware is going to handle streaming and gaming over the next, say, 3 to 5 years.
Exactly. The 43-inch model with its 4K, QLED, and Wi-Fi 6, it just feels so much more future-proof as 4K becomes the default standard for everything.
So our final recommendation is pretty clear. If you are on a very strict budget and you just need a basic full HD screen for a kitchen or a guest room, the 40-inch VFD40M-08 is a robust choice. It's reliable, and it does its job well.
However, if you're a gamer, or you just really value that premium color, the speed of modern Wi-Fi, and the visual pop of 4K Dolby Vision, well, then the VQD43M-0801 is, without a doubt, worth the extra money for the huge technological leap you get.
To find the latest prices and deals, be sure to check out the links in the description below.
And if you enjoyed this comparison, please make sure to hit that subscribe button for Tech Talk Central so you don't miss our next deep dive.
And before we go, here's one final thought for you to chew on. We looked at the performance specs, but think about the physical weight. The 40-inch is light. It's about 12.3 pounds.
Okay.
The 43-inch VQD43M-0801 is 25.4 pounds. It's more than double the weight.
Wow, that's a huge difference for just 3 inches of screen. That suggests there's a lot more going on inside than just a QLED layer.
Exactly. So what hidden structural changes, or maybe what kind of cooling system did Vizio have to build into that heavier model to handle the processing power needed for 4K, Dolby Vision, and that 120 fps mode? It's something for you to explore.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.